Great. Got the audio back on the visuals. Alright, let's cue this video up. Looks like we got RFK Jr. Now, this cat, nah, he gained a lot of clout during the pandemic response. He was one of the people talking sense. And it's it's funny how it was if you look at it through the political cycle, like 2020 through the COVID narrative lens, that was a political cycle that concluded with the 2022 midterms, I would say. But it also planted the seeds of the next political cycle in that 2020, where names like RFK Jr., Peter McCullough, Dr. Robert Malone became household names, even in the alternative news sphere, as we would say. And then now these people are still on the main stage, but to see RFK making a public announcement for the presidential run through the Democratic Party, at the very least, I'll say I'm reserving judgment on this cat. If I'm just not flat out going to diss him. But let's see what he has to say.
And so that's important to understand now. Just to get to the final thing, in my book, and Tony Fauci, if any of you end up reading the book, that last chapter talks about all of these pandemic simulations. I've been studying the CIA for much of my adult life. Because of my family's relationship, I wrote a book, which to me is my best book, American Values. And it is the story of my family's 60-year fistfight with the CIA, which began with my
60-year fight with the CIA. CIA don't take no losses. So, it looks like y'all was fighting for 60 years, but being as you're standing right in front of us telling us, yeah, we've been fighting with these cats for 60 years.
Father Joseph Kennedy, who served on the Hoover Commission in 1955 and recommended the disbanding of the CIA's plans division. Its division that was fixing elections and assassinating leaders and all of that. So the CIA
fixing elections, but JFK himself had the election fixed for him through Texas and Illinois. And it's well known through JFK researchers that the mob was used, employed to do said election fixing. At least in Illinois, through Gene Connor. So, and then if you look into it, you know that the mob and the CIA are basically just one and the same thing. So it's like, oh, you got me in. These guys got the drop on how I got in. Let's get rid of them. I clean up. I do some things here and there. I'm a hero for the people for the foreseeable future. Sounds a lot like Trump, if you ask me. Got in, then tried to do his own thing. They said, oh, hold on, fam. We need you to do this and that. Tensions, 60-year fight or a 4-year fight. But even Trump in 2024 is not talking like Trump was at the end of the 2020 election cycle. That's something I want to keep reiterating so people keep their eye on it. He was there January 6th for the Stop the Steal, but you don't hear him saying nothing about that anymore, except to use those people still locked up from January 6th as political ploys, i.e. the Waco, Texas rally. He had them, fouled out.
never forgave my family for that. And then when my uncle came in, after the Bay of Pigs, he fired the top 3 officials, Bissell and Goodell and Alan Dulles, who then made himself the head of the Warren Commission 3 years later. And when my uncle died, he told a reporter, I'm glad the little shit is dead. He thought he was a god. And so I know a lot about the CIA. I've gotten their manuals. I paid over $1,000 to get these manuals because they're training manuals from MK Ultra, and MK stands for Mind Control, MK Naomi, MK Dietrich. It all came out of Fort Detrick and NIH. And then 150 colleges around our country where they were funding these studies.
No,
if you
public
look at what they do in these
experiments.
simulations, they're using all of these techniques that they developed in colleges, college laboratories. Social scientists and other scientists, medical scientists for years who were studying how do you control individual behavior but also mass behavior. How do you induce mass psychosis? How do you create Manchurian candidates? How do you do all these? They had all these colleges studying these, and how do you
I was trying to let him play it out. He can be long-winded. Play it out so we can, get his point across. But I just want to step in with all that MK Ultra mind control programs. I believe it's fair to say any and everyone you see on the TV screen, presented TV screen, not so much YouTube, even though they're creeping into that, or mind controlled to one degree or another. Whether it's the person that they're recording, you know what I mean, some crazy person doing some crazy wild stuff, or the person, the newscaster reporting the news uncritically, unthinking, unwittingly, just sitting there being a pretty face, saying something blankly. I could be looking too much into it, but you know how that goes.
Centralized foreign control on indigenous populations. By coming into a country, by using propaganda, by using fear, by sowing chaos, by destroying relationships, destroying faith in institutions, driving people apart, and creating chaos so they will invite in an authority who will give them peace and safety. And all of these mind control techniques are designed to accelerate that process.
Uh-huh.
And they study the Stockholm syndrome, for example. If you lock people, down, they become grateful to their captors, and they become angry at the people who criticize their captors, and they believe that the only way that they can escape this confinement is through total obedience and total compliance to their jailers.
How poetically beautiful was that last sentence to somebody speaking on their public fight with the CIA for 60 years. They killed your uncle, and I guess your grandpop, or, in all due respect. And then now you're in their system. I guess he didn't announce his run for president here. But nonetheless, I think when he does announce that, he states that his one of his nieces works for the CIA. So, yeah, that was a beautiful ending in my opinion.